There are several million people living with HIV in South Africa. For many of these people, the stigma surrounding HIV means they keep their status secret, live in denial, or feel that their lives are no longer worth living. Thankfully, organizations like Positive Heroes are making inroads to breaking down stigma and encouraging people to be open about their status and live their lives to the fullest. Today, there are over 5 million South Africans living with HIV. While many still shy away from being tested for fear of a positive result, Johanna Ncala learned her status when she performed a test on herself.
I diagnosed myself because I worked in the laboratory and I found I was HIV positive at the time. It was 1993 and you couldn't tell anyone about HIV at the time because everyone was talking about HIV as a death sentence and there was no one was talking about treatment. So I hid this thing for 5 years without telling anyone. I think in 2001, when I got sick at the time, I had to disclose to my mother. And she was just asking me questions, what's wrong with me? She was shattered. And she left me. And then she came back and she said, you know, we're going to fight this together. I'm getting emotional about it. And so, yeah. And there was sort of a ward for HIV positive people at the time. No one wanted to go to that ward at all. You know, in the township, I come from Katlehong. I think in the street where I was living at the time, everyone was just dying. Every weekend, you'll just get news that there's someone that we're going to be buried. And there was something that was telling me that, you know, Johanna, you have to come out and be hope to others because at least you are living now. And the other thing that really made me, you know, to try to fight and tell myself that I'm going to leave, it was my son. I wanted to see him graduating university, and so I had to deal with God that if ever he can make me leave until I can see him going to university, then I'll be happiest woman on earth. And I promise that I will also do the same, that I will try to save other people's lives.
Johanna is now actively involved in HIV awareness, hosting workshops and running a women's empowerment initiative that she founded.
If ever there's one thing that is important for people to know is if ever you know about your disease, it's much easier for you to live with that disease. At the present moment, you know, it's free. You have testing. Everyone is talking about the testing. The president, everyone is talking about that. There's availability of treatment. It's free. So what I would say to people, please, everyone must just test. And then if ever you know your status that you're test positive, go get your CD4 cell count and your viral load. And if ever it's very low, below 350, a pregnant woman, please be on treatment immediately.
Terresa Frankenberg learned that she was HIV positive 10 years ago. She's open about her status, not to elicit sympathy, but to actively educate others and break down the fear of the disease.
I was involved with somebody for about 18 months, and it was a very destructive relationship. And obviously through the course of the relationship, there'd been incidences of infidelity, and you know, got to a stage where I realized that I needed to do something about my own health, and I went to see a doctor. Initially, I went to see him thinking that perhaps I was menopausal, and he said, look, let's do a full medical. And one of the tests was an HIV test. You just, you know, it's something that you just don't think is going to happen to you. Before my diagnosis, my lifestyle was crazy. It was just, you know, you're living and you're doing things and you're young and you're impetuous and you make bad decisions and that kind of thing. So I think once I tested positive and then losing my dad, you know, it makes you realize, and I know it sounds so cliche, but things that ordinary people take for granted become so much more important, you know. I remember driving my kids crazy for the first couple of years, making them look at every single full moon and a pretty sunset and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's those little things that you realize are what is so important and adds value to your life.
Terresa started a wellness program for her HIV-positive work colleagues. It clearly met a need, and now she has over 70 people on her program.
I think it's absolutely imperative that all companies in South Africa, especially in Africa, take cognizance of the fact that they have a social responsibility to have an AIDS program and wellness program within their organisation. For some people, this is the only avenue that they have in dealing with their status. It's the only person that they can talk to, the only environment where they are safe and not judged, and, you know, so it's imperative. The differences that I see for people that have come into the program and come to speak to us has been phenomenal, really. We've had people who are on deathbeds in hospital wasting away, and we've managed to reach them, and these people have come back and are back in society and functioning, they're back at work, and for me it's been hugely rewarding that I'm able to stand up there and say that I'm HIV positive, which allows other people to be able to say the same thing. It's the secrecy that kills. You need to be able to be open and honest so that you can reach out and get the treatment and the care that you need. And you can't do that if you're hiding it.
With their work touching so many lives, Terresa, along with Johanna, are the epitome of and testament to living positively with HIV. Without doubt, stigma is the biggest obstacle when it comes to dealing with HIV in our country. And I think what our positive heroes are doing to kick that stigma in the teeth is remarkable, it's noble, and I take my hat off to you. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for watching. Until next week, goodbye and God bless.